Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Titan, watching the stars through the large viewing window. His ship was the biggest and strongest in humanity's small fleet. For 3 years, he had been leading 12 human ships through the outer edge of known space, mapping new worlds and looking for resources. It was quiet work, but Jake liked it that way. The year was 2387, and humans had been traveling to other star systems for over 100 years. They had built colonies on dozens of worlds, but their territory was still tiny compared to the great alien empires that ruled most of the galaxy. Jake often wondered what those powerful aliens thought of humanity, if they thought about them at all. His thoughts were interrupted when Lieutenant Commander Ryan Blake walked onto the bridge. Ryan was the ship's intelligence officer, and he looked worried. Jake had known Ryan for 5 years, and he could always tell when something was bothering him. "Captain, we need to talk," Ryan said quietly. "I just received some very bad news from Admiral Carter." Jake nodded and followed Ryan to his private office behind the bridge. Ryan closed the door and activated the privacy screen that would keep their conversation secret from anyone listening. "What's going on?" Jake asked, sitting down in the chair across from Ryan's desk. Ryan pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy. 3 different colored areas marked the territories of the major alien empires. The red area belonged to the Zephyrian Dominion, a military empire known for their powerful warships and love of conquest. The blue area was controlled by the Korath Syndicate, aliens who were masters of advanced technology. The green area showed the territory of the Valthari hegemony, an ancient empire that had ruled parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. "All 3 empires are moving their fleets toward human space," Ryan said, pointing to small dots on the map that represented massive alien armadas. "Our spies report that they've made some kind of deal to divide our colonies among themselves." Jake felt his stomach drop. The human territory looked like a tiny white dot compared to the vast colored areas of the alien empires. "How many ships are we talking about?" "The Zephyrians are bringing 800 warships under War Marshal Thexkar. The Korath have 600 advanced vessels led by High Admiral Zrinmoth. The Valthari are deploying 500 ships commanded by Fleet Sage Yultharon." Ryan's voice was grim. "Nearly 2,000 ships in total, Captain. It's the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history." Jake was quiet for a long moment, trying to process the numbers. Humanity's entire space fleet consisted of only 43 ships, and most of those were exploration vessels, like his own, not military warships. Even their strongest ships would be no match for the advanced alien technology. "What does Admiral Carter want us to do?" Jake asked. "She's recalling all human ships to the Sol system immediately. Every captain is getting the same orders right now." Ryan handed Jake a datapad with the official message. "We're to return to Earth as fast as possible." Jake read the message twice. Admiral Lisa Carter was the commander of humanity's space forces, stationed on the orbital defense platform called New Geneva. She was a smart and experienced leader, but Jake wondered what she could possibly do against such overwhelming odds. Meanwhile, on the far side of human space, Dr. Helen Rodriguez was working late in her laboratory aboard the research ship UES Darwin. She was humanity's leading expert on alien technology, and she had been studying pieces of wreckage from a recent battle between 2 minor alien species. Helen was tired, but something about the alien power systems kept bothering her. She had been examining the crystalline structures that seemed to be present in all alien technology. These crystals were used for power distribution, communication, and even weapons control. "Computer, show me the frequency analysis of the Korath crystal samples," she said to her lab's artificial intelligence system. The computer displayed a complex wave pattern on the screen. Helen compared it to similar patterns from Zephyrian and Valthari technology that she had studied before. Something was very strange about what she was seeing. All 3 alien empires used completely different approaches to technology. The Zephyrians focused on brute force and heavy armor. The Korath preferred elegant, efficient designs. The Valthari used ancient but incredibly advanced systems. Yet somehow, all of their power crystals operated on very similar frequencies. Helen called up more data from her computer. She spent the next 3 hours analyzing crystal samples from dozens of different alien species. The pattern was clear. Almost every advanced alien civilization used the same basic crystalline matrix for their most important systems. This can't be a coincidence, she said to herself. Human technology was completely different. Humans had developed their systems based on electromagnetic fields and quantum harmonics. They didn't use crystals at all for their power systems. Helen had always thought this made human technology weaker than alien tech, but now she was beginning to wonder if it might be an advantage. She picked up her communication device and sent a message to Admiral Carter. "Admiral, this is Dr. Rodriguez aboard the Darwin. I need to speak with you immediately about something very important." Back on the UES Titan, Jake was preparing his ship for the journey back to Earth. The other 11 ships in his small fleet were also getting ready to leave. They would travel together for safety, even though Jake doubted they would encounter any alien ships on the way home. As Jake walked through the corridors of his ship, he could see the worry on his crew's faces. News of the approaching alien fleets had spread quickly, and everyone knew that humanity was facing its greatest threat since leaving Earth. Jake's communication officer, Kate Palmer, approached him with another message from Admiral Carter. "Captain, the Admiral wants all fleet commanders to attend a secure briefing as soon as we reach Earth orbit. She says it's about a possible defense plan." Jake nodded, but he couldn't imagine what kind of defense plan could work against 2,000 alien warships. The human colonies had some defensive platforms and a few dozen military vessels, but nothing that could stand up to 3 galactic empires working together. In her laboratory, Dr. Helen Rodriguez was running calculations on her computer. The more she studied the alien crystal frequencies, the more excited she became. She had discovered something that could change everything, but she needed to test her theory before she could be sure. She began working on a small device that could generate specific electromagnetic pulses. If her theory was correct, these pulses might be able to disrupt the crystalline matrices that powered alien technology. It was a long shot, but it might be humanity's only chance. 3 weeks later, the alien fleets were moving closer to human space. War Marshal Thexkar was confident that the humans would surrender without a fight once they saw the size of the combined armadas. High Admiral Zrinmoth was already planning how to divide the human colonies among the 3 empires. Fleet Sage Yulthuron, the oldest and most experienced of the alien commanders, was the only one who felt something was not quite right about the situation. As the alien fleets prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory, humanity was preparing something that would shock the entire galaxy. Dr. Rodriguez had made a discovery that could turn the tide of the coming battle, but time was running out. 3 weeks before the alien fleets would reach human space, Dr. Helen Rodriguez was working day and night in her laboratory. She had barely slept in the past 5 days, surviving on coffee and determination. Her small device was finally ready for testing, and she was both excited and terrified about what might happen. "Computer, activate the electromagnetic pulse generator," she said, her voice shaking slightly. The device hummed to life, producing a specific frequency that Helen had calculated based on her analysis of the alien crystals. She had placed a small piece of Korith crystal in a sealed chamber, and she watched as the pulse hit it. The crystal immediately stopped glowing and went dark. Helen's heart raced as she realized her theory was correct. The electromagnetic pulse had completely disrupted the crystal's power matrix. She quickly tested the device on Zephyrian and Valthari crystal samples. The same thing happened every time. The crystals lost all their power and became nothing more than pretty rocks. "This could actually work," she whispered to herself. Helen immediately called her assistant, Marcus Webb, who was sleeping in his quarters. Marcus was one of humanity's best engineers, and she needed his help to make her discovery useful on a larger scale. "Marcus, get to the lab right now. I need you to see something amazing," she said over the communication system. Marcus arrived within 10 minutes, still wearing his pajamas. He was a tall man with messy brown hair and always looked like he had just woken up, but his mind was sharp and he could solve almost any technical problem. "What's so important that it couldn't wait until morning?" Marcus asked, yawning. "I found a way to shut down alien technology. Helen said, showing him the darkened crystals. Every alien empire uses these crystalline matrices for power and communication. If we can disrupt them all at once, we can disable their entire fleet. Marcus examined the crystals and the pulse generator. His eyes grew wide as he understood what Helen had discovered. This is incredible, but how do we make it work on a galactic scale? We'd need thousands of these devices positioned perfectly. That's where you come in, Helen said. I need you to help me build a network that can amplify and coordinate the pulses. We need to create a resonance effect that will spread through their communication systems. While Helen and Marcus worked on their secret project, Admiral Lisa Carter was coordinating humanity's defense from her command station on New Geneva. The orbital platform orbited Earth and served as the headquarters for all human military operations. Colonel Danny Turner, the commander of Earth's orbital defense, Grid, had been working with Admiral Carter for 2 years. He was a former fighter pilot who had earned his position through skill and bravery. When Carter told him about Dr. Rodriguez's discovery, he immediately understood its importance. So you're telling me that we might be able to shut down 2,000 alien warships without firing a single shot? Turner asked, hardly believing what he was hearing. If Rodriguez and Webb can make it work, yes, Carter replied. But we need to retrofit every human ship, station, and defense platform with these resonance emitters. We have less than 3 weeks to do it. Turner nodded grimly. I'll get my best people on it immediately. How many devices do we need? Rodriguez says we need at least 500 emitters spread throughout the solar system to create the proper resonance effect. Every single device has to activate at exactly the same moment or the whole plan fails. Meanwhile, Captain Alex Stone was preparing for the most dangerous mission of his career. Stone commanded the UES Ranger, humanity's fastest and most advanced reconnaissance ship. Admiral Carter had given him the job of placing hidden resonance beacons in the outer solar system without being detected by alien scouts. Stone's team included Kate Palmer, a specialist in stealth operations, and Chris Allen, the best navigation officer in the human fleet. They had worked together on many covert missions, but never anything this important. The alien fleets have scout ships watching the edge of our system, Stone explained to his team as they studied their mission plans. We need to place 12 beacons in specific locations without being seen. If even one alien ship detects us, the whole plan will be ruined. Kate Palmer studied the locations on the star map. These positions are perfect for creating a detection grid, but they're also exactly where the alien scouts would expect us to place sensors. They'll be watching those areas carefully. That's why we're going to use the asteroid belt as cover, Chris Allen suggested. We can hide the beacons inside large asteroids and use their natural movement to position them correctly. Stone smiled. That's brilliant. The aliens will think they're just normal space rocks. Over the next week, Stone's team successfully placed all 12 beacons without being detected. Each beacon was hidden inside a carefully selected asteroid and programmed to activate when it received the signal from Earth. Back in her laboratory, Dr. Rodriguez was running final tests with her expanded team. She had been joined by Paul Green, a quantum physicist who specialized in electromagnetic field theory, and Nina Clark, a systems analyst who made sure all the technical components would work together properly. The mathematics look perfect, Paul said, reviewing Rodriguez's calculations. The resonance cascade should propagate through their quantum communication networks and affect every connected system. Nina was monitoring the test results on her computer. All the emitters are responding correctly. When we activate the network, the pulse will spread from our solar system to every alien military installation in the galaxy. Rodriguez felt a mixture of excitement and fear. Are we sure this won't permanently damage their technology? I don't want to hurt innocent civilians. The effect should only last for a few hours on non-military systems, Marcus assured her. Their civilian infrastructure will come back online automatically, but their military networks are designed to stay connected at all times, so they'll remain disabled until someone manually resets each system. As the alien fleets moved closer to human space, the 3 Empire commanders were confident of their victory. War Marshal Thexkar had already decided which human colonies he wanted for the Zephyrian Dominion. High Admiral Zrinmoth was planning how to study human technology after their surrender. Fleet Sage Yulthuron continued to feel uneasy about the situation, but he couldn't identify what was bothering him. The alien scouts reported that human ships were gathering near Earth, which seemed logical for a defensive strategy. The aliens saw some increased activity around human installations, but it appeared to be normal preparation for a siege. None of them suspected that humanity was preparing to change the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Carter received regular reports from her teams across human space. The resonance emitters were being installed on schedule, and Dr. Rodriguez's network was almost ready for activation. Every human military officer knew about the plan, but they had been sworn to absolute secrecy. Captain Jake Morrison had returned to Earth orbit with his fleet and was waiting for orders. His ship, the UES Titan, had been fitted with the most powerful resonance emitter in the human network. If the plan worked, his ship would be at the center of the effect that disabled the alien empires. "Captain, incoming message from Admiral Carter," his communication officer reported. Carter's face appeared on the main screen. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Carter. In 72 hours, the alien fleets will reach our outer defense perimeter. At that time, we will execute the most important military operation in human history. Dr. Rodriguez's plan is our only chance of survival, and I have complete confidence it will succeed." Jake felt a mix of hope and anxiety. Everything depended on whether their secret weapon would work against technology that was thousands of years more advanced than anything humans had ever built. In the outer solar system, the alien fleets continued their approach, unaware that their greatest weakness was about to be turned against them. The massive alien fleets dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, with a display of power that had never been seen before. Nearly 2,000 warships arranged themselves in perfect formation, creating a wall of metal and energy that stretched across millions of kilometers of space. War Marshal Thexkar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Destroyer, watching the tactical displays with satisfaction. His 800 Zephyrian warships formed the left wing of the combined fleet, their red hulls gleaming in the light of Earth's sun. Each ship was armed with plasma cannons capable of destroying a city with a single shot. High Admiral Zrinmoth commanded the center formation from his vessel, the Quantum Edge. His 600 Korath ships were smaller than the Zephyrian vessels but far more advanced, with energy shields that could deflect almost any weapon, and computers that calculated battle tactics faster than any living mind. Fleet Sage Yulthuron's 500 Valthari ships took position on the right flank. His ancient empire had perfected the art of war over thousands of years, and his vessels carried weapons that could manipulate gravity itself. The Eternal Wisdom, his command ship, was over 3,000 years old but still the most feared warship in the galaxy. The three commanders opened a joint communication channel to coordinate their final approach. They had agreed to offer humanity one chance to surrender before beginning their attack. "The human defensive fleet is pathetically small," Thexkar reported, studying his sensor readings. "I count only 37 vessels, and most of them appear to be exploration ships converted for military use. Their technology is primitive, but not completely worthless," Zrinmoth added. "My scientists would like to study their electromagnetic field generators before we destroy their infrastructure." Yulthuron was the oldest and most experienced of the three commanders, having fought in wars across half the galaxy. Something about this situation made him uncomfortable, but he couldn't identify what was wrong. "There is something unusual about their formation," he said slowly. "They are not positioned for defense or escape. They appear to be waiting for something." On Earth, Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center of New Geneva, surrounded by screens showing the positions of every ship in both fleets. The sight of the alien armada was intimidating, but she felt calm and confident. Everything depended on the next few hours. Captain Jake Morrison was aboard the UES Titan, positioned at the center of the human formation. His ship looked tiny compared to the massive alien vessels, but it carried the most important weapon in human history. The resonance emitter installed in his ship's core was powerful enough to coordinate the entire network. Captain Alex Stone commanded the UES Ranger from a position near Jupiter, where his ship was hidden among the planet's many moons. His covert mission had been successful, and the hidden beacons were ready to amplify the resonance signal across the entire solar system. Captain Rick Hayes had arrived just days before, aboard the UES Phoenix, bringing reinforcements from the outer colonies. His ship was one of the newer military vessels, but even it seemed weak compared to the alien technology arrayed against them. Dr. Helen Rodriguez was in her specially modified laboratory aboard the command station, monitoring the resonance network with her team. Marcus Webb sat at the main control console, his hands ready to activate the most important device ever built by human science. All emitters are showing green status, reported Paul Green, the quantum physicist. The network is stable and ready for activation. Nina Clark was tracking the alien fleet movements on her tactical display. The alien ships are moving into their final attack positions. Their weapon systems are powering up. The alien commanders sent their ultimatum to Earth on all communication frequencies. War Marshal Thexkar's voice echoed across human space with arrogant confidence. Humans of Earth, you are surrounded by the combined might of 3 galactic empires. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our advanced vessels. Surrender immediately, and your colonies will be distributed among our civilizations. You have 1 hour to respond. Admiral Carter activated the main communication system and responded to all 3 alien fleets simultaneously. Her voice was calm and steady, showing no fear despite the overwhelming odds. This is Admiral Lisa Carter, Commander of Earth's Defense Forces. We have received your ultimatum and considered it carefully. On the bridge of the UES Titan, Captain Morrison stood ready to deliver humanity's reply. Carter had chosen him to speak for all of humanity at this crucial moment. The words he was about to say would be remembered forever. War Marshal Thexkar, High Admiral Zrinmoth, Fleet Sage Yultharon, Morrison began, his voice carrying across space to reach the alien commanders. We respectfully decline your offer. Humanity stands free. The alien commanders were surprised by the confident tone of the human response. They had expected pleas for mercy or desperate attempts at negotiation. Instead, the humans seemed almost defiant. Very well, Thexakar replied angrily. You have chosen destruction over wisdom. All ships prepare to open fire. Across the 3 alien fleets, weapon systems came online and targeting computers locked onto human vessels. Nearly 10,000 plasma cannons, energy beams, and gravity. Weapons prepared to unleash devastation on the small human fleet. But Admiral Carter was not watching the alien weapons. She was looking at the chronometer on her command console, waiting for exactly the right moment. Dr. Rodriguez had calculated that the resonance effect would work best when the alien ships were fully powered and actively using their communication systems. All stations, this is Admiral Carter, she announced on the secure command frequency. Execute harmonic protocol in 10 seconds. Morrison felt his heart racing as he watched the countdown on his ship's main display. Around him, his crew was silent and tense, knowing that the next few moments would determine the fate of humanity. 5 seconds, Carter announced. In her laboratory, Dr. Rodriguez held her breath as Marcus Webb's finger hovered over the activation button. 3 years of research and 3 weeks of desperate preparation had led to this single moment. 3, 2, 1. Execute. Marcus pressed the button, and every resonance emitter in the human network activated simultaneously. The effect was invisible to the naked eye, but the electromagnetic pulse spread outward from Earth at the speed of light, carrying with it a precisely calculated frequency designed to disrupt alien crystalline matrices. The pulse reached the alien fleets in less than a second. As it passed through their formations, something extraordinary happened. Every single alien ship suddenly went dark. On the bridge of the Crimson Destroyer, War Marshal Thexkar watched in horror as his tactical displays flickered and died. Emergency lighting activated as the main power systems failed completely. High Admiral Zrinmoth's advanced computers shut down without warning, leaving his ship drifting helplessly in space. His quantum processors, which had been calculating attack patterns moments before, were now nothing more than expensive decorations. Fleet Sage Yultharon, felt a chill of fear as his ancient ship's gravity manipulators went offline. The eternal wisdom, which had survived 1,000 battles across 3 millennia, was suddenly as powerless as a piece of space debris. Across all 3 fleets, the same scene was repeated on nearly 2,000 warships. Life support systems failed, weapons powered down, and communication arrays went silent. The greatest military force in galactic history had been reduced to a collection of floating metal shells in less than 30 seconds. The resonance cascade didn't stop with the ships in Earth's solar system. The pulse propagated through the alien quantum communication networks, traveling instantly across the galaxy to every connected military installation, command center, and warship of the 3 empires. In the hours following what would become known as the Great Silence, Captain Jake Morrison found himself in command of the strangest rescue operation in galactic history. His ship, the UES Titan, moved carefully between the powerless alien vessels, scanning for signs of life. "Captain, we're detecting emergency distress signals from the Korath ships," reported his communication officer. "Their life support systems are failing." Morrison looked out at the massive alien fleet, now floating helplessly in space. Nearly 2,000 warships that had come to destroy humanity were now completely dependent on human mercy for survival. It was a situation that no one in the galaxy had ever imagined. "Send teams to the ships with the weakest life support readings first," Morrison ordered. "We can't let these people die, no matter what they intended to do to us." Admiral Lisa Carter was coordinating the rescue efforts from her command station on New Geneva. She had mobilized every available human ship to provide emergency aid to the disabled alien fleets. It was a massive undertaking that would test humanity's resources to their limits. Dr. Amanda Foster, the chief medical officer of the human fleet, was working around the clock to organize medical teams for different alien species. Each empire had unique biological requirements, and keeping them alive would require careful planning. "The Zephyrians need a higher oxygen concentration than humans," she explained to her staff. "The Korath require a specific temperature range, and the Valthari have a completely different atmospheric mixture. We need to modify our life support systems for each species." Captain Alex Stone's ship, the UES Ranger, was approaching one of the largest Zephyrian vessels. The massive warship was 3 times the size of any human ship, but it was now as helpless as a broken toy. "This is Captain Stone of the human vessel Ranger," he broadcast on emergency frequencies. "We are here to provide assistance. Do you require immediate life support aid?" The response came in broken standard galactic language. "Human ship, this is Commander Bextar of the Warhammer. Our power systems are completely offline. Life support failing." Stone's rescue teams worked quickly to dock with the alien ship and provide emergency power cells. It was dangerous work, as they had no idea if the aliens might try to attack them once their immediate crisis was resolved. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the effects of humanity's resonance weapon were becoming clear. The pulse had traveled through the quantum communication networks of all 3 empires, shutting down military installations on thousands of worlds. On the Zephyrian capital world of Krex Prime, General Vakthul watched in confusion as his command center went dark. Every military base in the Dominion had lost power simultaneously, and no one could explain what had happened. The Korath Syndicate was experiencing similar chaos. Their advanced computer networks, which controlled everything, from defense systems to traffic management, had crashed completely. High Scientist Melran was frantically trying to understand how such a widespread failure was possible. The ancient Valthari hegemony was perhaps the most affected. Their empire had relied on the same basic technology for thousands of years, and the sudden failure of their systems left them completely unprepared. Elder Lord Thesimor declared a state of emergency as worlds throughout the hegemony began declaring independence. Back in Earth's solar system, the rescue operations continued. Human crews were working on hundreds of alien ships, providing life support and medical aid to former enemies. It was exhausting work, but no human complained about helping beings who had come to destroy them. War Marshal Thexkar was brought aboard the UES Titan as a prisoner, but he was treated with respect and given comfortable quarters. He sat in silence, for hours, trying to understand how his mighty fleet had been defeated so easily. "How did you do it?" he finally asked Captain Morrison during one of their meetings. "We had the most powerful fleet in galactic history, and you stopped us without firing a single shot." Morrison considered his answer carefully. "We studied your technology and found a weakness that you didn't know existed. But more importantly, we worked together as one species with one goal." High Admiral Zrinmoth was also struggling to understand what had happened. His scientific mind was fascinated by humanity's achievement, even though it had resulted in his defeat. "Your electromagnetic pulse was precisely calibrated to our crystalline matrices," he told Dr. Rodriguez during a technical discussion. "The mathematics required for such precision are extraordinary. How did one species develop such advanced understanding?" Rodriguez smiled. "We've always been good at solving problems. When we don't know something, we study it until we figure it out." Fleet Sage Yulthuran was the most thoughtful of the alien commanders. Despite being thousands of years old, he had never seen anything like humanity's victory. He requested a meeting with Admiral Carter to discuss the future. "You have accomplished something that I believed was impossible," he told her. "You have changed the balance of power in the galaxy without massive bloodshed. What do you intend to do now?" Carter had been thinking about this question since the moment their plan had succeeded. "We want to build something better than the old system of empires, something based on cooperation instead of conquest." As news of the Great Silence spread throughout the galaxy, smaller species that had been oppressed by the three empires began to declare their independence. Worlds that had been forced to serve the Dominion, Syndicate, and Hegemony suddenly found themselves free to make their own choices. President Angela White of Earth announced the formation of the Free Worlds Coalition during a broadcast that reached every corner of human space. "We invite any species or system that believes in freedom and cooperation to join us in building a new kind of galactic community." The response was overwhelming. Within days, dozens of star systems applied for membership in the coalition. Species that had never been allowed to speak for themselves suddenly had a voice in galactic affairs. Dr. Rodriguez and Marcus Webb worked with alien scientists to develop selective restoration protocols. They could restore life support and civilian systems while keeping military capabilities disabled. It was delicate work that required cooperation from the former empires. Captain Rick Hayes was placed in command of the new Coalition Defense Force, a mixed fleet of human and alien vessels dedicated to protecting the growing alliance. His first mission was to investigate reports of unknown threats in the galactic core that had been kept secret by the old empires. The most surprising development came when several alien commanders requested to join the coalition. High Admiral Zrinmoth was the first, formally requesting membership for his home system. "The Korath Syndicate is finished," he explained to Admiral Carter. "Our central authority has collapsed, and individual worlds are going their own ways. My people need a new path forward." Even War Marshal Thexkar eventually agreed to work with the coalition, though he remained a prisoner. "The old ways of conquest and empire are ending," he admitted. "Perhaps it is time to try cooperation." Fleet Sage Yulthuran became an advisor to the coalition, sharing his vast knowledge of galactic history and warning about dangers that lurked in unexplored regions. "You have awakened something by destroying the three-empire balance," he cautioned. "There are older and more dangerous things in the galaxy that were held in check by our constant warfare." 1 year after the Great Silence, Captain Morrison stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the Coalition's new headquarters. Through the large windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species working together on joint missions. Dr. Helen Rodriguez had established a new research facility where scientists from across the galaxy collaborated on projects that would benefit all members of the coalition. Her discovery had changed more than just military technology. It had opened the door to sharing knowledge between species that had been enemies for centuries. The galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality, but humanity had proven that superior strategy could triumph over brute force, and that mercy in victory could build lasting peace. The age of galactic empires was over, and the age of cooperation had begun.